Alright guys, what am I talking about today? Today I'm talking about a couple of more inventions I've done. A really important one's the Ring of Power. I mentioned it in the last video. I'll talk about that at the end of this video. But the first invention I want to talk about is a new type of what I call foam stick for equestrian show jumping. You might say, Dave Jenvey's into equestrian show jumping. Well, I'm not really. I'm not into it at all. But my favourite celebrity, called Ariana Rockefeller, is. She's very much into equestrian show jumping, and she's actually very talented at it. I think she's won competitions, big competitions in America, and I think something about that sport, equestrian show jumping, is it's very dangerous. And the riders who do that sport suffer some really bad injuries. You may remember Christopher Reeve, the guy who used to be Superman. He got paralysed doing that sport. It's very dangerous because you're on a big horse jumping over big jumps. Some of those jumps are really big. Now, I thought that possibly what they could do is the sticks they jump over. They get these horses to jump. They could turn them from being really heavy, because I think at the moment they're really heavy sticks. So if the horse bashes into them, it sort of sends the horse's momentum up over. Like the horse hits it, probably hurts the horse's legs, and then it tilts the head of the horse forward, and then throws the rider over the top of the horse. A bit like going over the bars. Going over the handlebars on a mountain bike, kind of the same thing. But I was thinking, well, if they had instead of having these big heavy sticks that they currently use on these jumps, or these barriers, I don't know what they call them, but poles, they probably just call them horse jumping poles or show jumping poles. Instead of having these big, thick, heavy poles, why not just have a plastic, hollow pole that's got foam around it, and then maybe another outer hard plastic outer, just thin, just make them plastic so they're really light. And then if a rider does make a mistake, bash into the pole might at the worst snap, but hopefully as the horse hits it, the weight of the horse just sends the pole forwards, and it doesn't interfere with the horse too much. It doesn't hurt the horse's legs, and hopefully doesn't cause the horse to tilt forward and throw the rider over the top. So that's a new invention. I just call it the foam stick, or I don't know, you could call it a foam show jumping pole. So it'd be hollow plastic centre, or maybe solid plastic centre, I'm not sure. So it's light. Then plastic foam around the outside, and then maybe another outer casing of plastic. It's something that could really help equestrian show jumping be a lot safer, because currently it is very dangerous. And because Ariana Rockefeller is my favourite celebrity, I wouldn't want to see her get hurt. And as far as I'm aware, her father, David Rockefeller Jr, is the head oil man of the world. So he controls the flow of oil around the world, and basically tells the oil companies how much oil to pump out of the ground. And after he dies, he's in his 80s now, he's like 82. After he dies, his eldest child is Ariana Rockefeller. So she's going to become queen of crude oil, basically. She's going to take his job and become queen of crude oil. And if you're queen of crude oil, believe it or not, you actually run the world. Because oil runs the whole global economy, as I keep saying. That's why I'm an oil investor. And that's also why I'm trying to invent inventions, like my next invention, which is called the Ring of Power, which is trying to help us shift away from using crude oil for energy production, something which I think has been suppressed by the crude oil men like David Rockefeller Jr. But yeah, I love Ariana because I think Ariana Rockefeller, she's beautiful, very beautiful. She's got a fantastic figure, supermodel good looks. and I wouldn't like to see her get hurt on the horse doing these big show jumps, because they are dangerous. If they put them foam sticks in, I think it'd be a lot safer. So anyway, let's talk about my next invention, the ring of power. What is it? Well, something I think that's been suppressed by the oil men that run the world. David Rockefeller Jr. being the head oil man. Something that's been suppressed by them so that we don't have free energy is we don't correctly use step-up transformers. So what we currently do with our fossil fuel power stations and our nuclear fission power stations is we create a small amount of electric which we then put into a step-up transformer. That ramps up the voltage before we then send that down the pylon system into the energy grid, basically along the pylons, and then it goes to a step down transformer before that electricity comes to your house. And the reason it's stepped down, the reason we step down the voltage before it comes into your house is because it would overload the circuits of your house and set your house on fire. So they have to do that. But what we should be doing is we create a small amount of electric at the power station, potentially, burn some coal to spin a turbine, create a small amount of electric, and then put it into a circuit of step-up transformers. I'll show you what I mean with this diagram. So here you've got the coal-fired power station. Now let's just say it creates 10,000 volts. Now normally what happens is this small amount of electric is sent into a step-up transformer, which is ramped up to 400,000 volts, and then sent along a pylon system where it meets a step-down transformer and then is sent to your house. But what I think we should do is send the 10,000 volts there, step it up as normal, 400,000 volts, go along the pylon system, but then we step it up to actually 410,000 inside the step-up transformer, and we send 10,000 to a step-up transformer number 2. And then we do the same thing there and send it up 400,000 along a pylon system 2, and 10,000 volts to a step-up transformer number 3. We do the same again, 400,000 volts there, and 10,000 up to the step-up transformer number 4. And we keep passing, you see, 10,000 volts there, 400,000 that way, and we keep sending 10,000 volts around in a circuit, again and again and again and again, stepping up. Each step-up transformer steps up the voltage again and again and again. And what happens there is the step-up transformer is almost acting like its own power station. 10,000 volts come in, get stepped up, 400,000 go down the pylon system, and 10,000 go to the next step-up transformer. And you just keep repeating that process again and again in a circuit. And that would make you all the energy you need. And I think as well, you would only need an initial jolt of energy from the coal-fired power station. You just send in the 10,000 volts, and then you just pass the 10,000 around again and again, and the pylon systems just vent off the 400,000 created by each step-up transformer. They're just like siphoning off the electric, just pulling off the electric that's needed down the pylon, but then the 10,000 is diverted to the next step-up transformer again and again in a circuit, just again and again and again and again. And then you would hardly need to burn any fossil fuels to get that system going. You could also do the same thing. You could make this much smaller and do the same thing inside of a car. So you have a battery, right? Instead of a coal-fired power station, you just have a battery, like a 12-volt battery, that then goes to a power inverter, converts that electric from DC into AC, and then starts putting it into a step-up transformers in a circuit. We don't use step-up transformers anywhere near enough in our energy production. And I'm pretty certain that that technology has been suppressed. It's been suppressed by the people who run the world, the oil men. The head oil man being David Rockefeller Jr. He doesn't want this technology to be out there to the public because he feels if free energy is available to the public, he can't then control the world. He controls the world through the flow of oil. And when need be, he can depopulate the world with very high oil prices, which then lead to very high food prices. He doesn't want the world to have free energy. David Rockefeller Jr., he's, in my view, public enemy number one on this planet. That's my personal opinion of David Rockefeller Jr. I don't have a very positive view of him, but at the same time, I think, well, he is trying to save the planet because the planet has now become overpopulated. I mean, my personal opinion on what should have happened is around 100 years ago, maybe sooner, maybe around the turn of the 20th century, it should have been made very clear to the entire public, the entire world, we need to try and keep our population down by restricting how many children we have. A policy in China is a one-child policy that's prevented a lot of births. There's too many people on this earth. And someone like Greta Thunberg, who wants to save the planet, the only real way to do it is through depopulation. And the only way to do that is through starvation of millions of people. And that's coming. I think that that is going to happen under David Rockefeller Jr. He certainly doesn't want the world to have free energy and become, you know, if the world starts moving away from being dependent on oil, he can't control that world population anymore. But we're definitely not using step-up transformers how we should be. We just use one step-up transformer and then send the electric along the pylon system. We should be using them in a circuit and venting off the electric and just passing around 10,000. Well, it might not be 10,000 volts, maybe it's 5,000 volts, whatever it is. Passing that around in a circuit. We should be doing that in our cars. We should be doing that in our power stations, but we're not. And there's a reason we're not. It's been suppressed. Anyway, that's all I have to say for now. See you later.